Day one of camp has come and gone, and day two is right around the corner. Football is back. I could not be more excited. I know that y'all are excited as well. It is open mic night, which means it is your night to get your takes off. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Get in early. You know how this goes. Usually nobody is waiting very, very early on. But as we start to flow, this thing gets backed up quickly. So you'll get 5 minutes to get your takes off. We'll have a conversation, but get in early. I'm going to take your calls next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. Like I said, it is open mic night. Link pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get it cracking. I have to say, I do not know what happened to this gentleman. I have not talked to him all off season, I feel like. Every time that I held this show, the call-in show, he was always the first caller. And he's the first caller again tonight. So I feel like football season is here. I also have to say, dude, you can't just disappear without saying you're going to disappear. Because I was actually worried about you. I brought it up a few call-in shows ago. I'm like, I haven't heard from this gentleman in way too long. I hope everything is okay. That is Mr. Korean 49er, E. Kim. What's up, man? How you been?
I'm good, Jesse. I just took a break for the off season. Just
okay.
I'll
That's
remind
good.
That the last one for the season. I'll let you know that I'll take a little bit of a break just to get away from the game for a little bit.
I'm just saying that's totally fine. But man, when you're a regular on a show and then you just ghost, people worry about you. All right, I was worried. I really was.
Yeah. Well, I had to, do a little traveling, catch up on a couple things here and there. Hit the gym up, hit up the gym again. So gotta do as well.
You look fantastic. So I'm glad that you are back. You're looking healthy, ready to go. What are your thoughts, man?
The off season's way too long. That's the first problem.
For sure.
Sure. I'm out at the beginning of every season. I'm optimistic, so we'll see how long that optimism stays for, making it through at least to the Super Bowl and seeing where that takes us. I do like the move of signing Javon Hargrave. I always think getting pressure from the middle of the defensive line is always better. It's tougher for opposing quarterbacks compared to a Nick Bosa going around or through the left tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, okay. So a lot of things have happened since we've talked last. Obviously, like the Hargrave signing, all the quarterback stuff has gone crazy. We went through a whole offseason of who's going to start week one. Is Brock going to be healthy? Sounds like he is. How do you feel about the whole quarterback situation right now?
I just want to see a true quarterback competition. Just whoever does the best, just have him be the starter and stick with it. That's the one thing I've always wanted Kyle to do, but never happened for whatever the reason.
Okay, and I agree with that. I mean, I think you and I are on the same page. Like, just if you're picking a guy, pick that guy. I would love to have a competition. I think it's just so hard to actually have a competition, and this is why I don't think it is because how do you override what Purdy did in games? I mean, that's almost impossible to do. So unless Purdy looks awful or he was hurt or something like that, I don't see how you can beat that out. I just don't.
That's true. I got to give at least Purdy the first chance to be the starting quarterback again this season. For this season, since he did very well last season. Hopefully his arm is at least almost as healthy as it can be. I mean, no one's ever fully healthy after the first game of the season, so hopefully his arm is doing much better than before that injury.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I know that some people think, all right, well, they're rushing him back. I actually think it's kind of the opposite. I think he's fully cleared. The way that I read the situation was like, okay, he's fully cleared. And then they're kind of holding him back because they had a process that they thought would work. They had that in mind, and it was two days on, one or two practices on, one practice off, and that's what they're going to adhere to. But really, they could just unleash him all the way if they wanted to. That's the feeling I got from
Yeah,
the way that they talked about it.
I would just see how he does after the 2 practices. If his arm isn't too feeling too bad or anything like that, let him go for that 3rd one. Just keep monitoring to see if he needs that practice off. So got 2 non-49er questions for you, I think.
Yeah, let's go.
You hear about this potential Jim Harbaugh suspension at Michigan?
I have not actually.
So I think I heard that he bought a recruit a hamburger and didn't report it to the NCAA, which is, I'm like, come on, man. I know this is one of the most asinine rules. Well, the entire NCAA is asinine in my mind, but that's another conversation. So I think Harbaugh may get suspended 4 games for that. The question is, which 4 games?
Oh man, that's so stupid. That is about as dumb as it can be. I mean, if I was, I would try to not be suspended the first 4 games if possible. I mean, I feel like that's like the worst thing ever. I don't want to be suspended for the first 4 games.
Yeah, but with those college programs, they always play some kind of a cupcake. At least the first 3 are cupcake non-conference
For
games.
sure. Yeah, that's
I
true.
think they could get away with that. If it was suspended against like Ohio State, that would be a little bit bigger issue for Michigan.
Yeah.
They've stomped Ohio State the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to light. I had no idea. That's so dumb. What was the other thing you wanted to bring up?
Oh, since I live outside Chicago, did you hear about
Mhm.
the Northwestern situation?
No, I really don't. Here's my thing with college football. Other than the Oregon Ducks, like I don't pay attention in the offseason. I really don't.
Okay, so okay. We'll talk about Northwestern. Supposedly there is a hazing situation at Northwestern.
Oh yeah. Yes, I did hear about this. Yes, I did. Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Because I'm like, it's one thing if you tie somebody to the goalpost and just throw water on them. That's harmless fun. But if it's as bad as they say it was,
I just want to say this. I'll say this about the situation, and then I'll get you out of here because I got a queue building up. But I'll say the fact that it was student journalists are the ones that uncovered it. Kudos to them because realistically, they put their neck all the way on the line. If Northwestern had gotten a hold of it and somehow buried the whole conversation and then just kicked those kids out, you may never hear about it, and then their journalist career may be jeopardized. So shout out to them for taking that chance. That is a real risk they took. So yeah, hazing's one thing. I mean, there's all in good fun hazing, but if it's what they're saying, that's definitely rough, man. Definitely rough. Hey, brother, I'm gonna get you out of here. It was so good to hear from you. Hopefully, I hear from you now throughout the rest of the season, man. I'm glad everything is good. We'll talk soon. All right.
No problem. Should be on for most of the season at least.
Perfect, man. All right, man. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Yeah, no problem.
I wanted to bring this comment back up. I can't find it. Either way, yeah. This is what I think is actually I think this is a real thing. I think there's a lot of people that are just waiting. And I know that it's on the Trey Lance side too. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely on the Trey Lance side because I know if reports came out today that he didn't look good, people would be ripping him to shreds. So I know it's going to go the other way for Brock Purdy. Let's just chill, man. Like, come on. Give him a chance. Like, he hasn't played in so long. He deserves some patience, but I know there's a lot of people like you, 49ers Daddy, that are just waiting to get back. I guess I get it to a certain extent. Dude, the football season's really here because not only did Kim start the show, but now I got Adrian sending me random funny super chats. What's up, Adrian? How you doing? All right, let's get into it. Here's the order. I always like to be respectful so that everybody knows how long they're going to wait. Just in case it's too long, it's 5 minutes in between each call. So we've got Michael Monahan, we got TC, we got Phil, we got Alan, Giannis, Deshaun, and then Freddie. So if you don't like your order, you can't wait. All respect, but I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time because you are giving it to make this show tick. let's go to Michael.
Jesse,
what's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Hey, can I just say, one thing I really appreciate about you is I know you're quote unquote in a lot of people's minds a Trey guy, but I appreciate how you say that whether it's Brock or Trey, if they pick them, you got to go all in and give them all your support. And so I appreciate about that about you, because at the end of the day, we're Niners fans. And that's, we want to put whoever's in QB1 in the best position we can to win. One of the things I wanted to mention, and I've seen a lot, not so much from the content creators, but a lot of in the chats, is, a lot of people are talking about how, Brock's just going to be given the job and there's no real competition. I don't believe that. I think that if Brock didn't earn the job, he wouldn't want the job. And I think that's the same for Trey. These guys are such competitors that, they're just not those kind of people. I think, at the end of the day, they all got their careers to think about. They all got their bag to think about. But there's a level of pride that they have as competitors. And, I think that, if they were to just be handed a job or crowned, some kind of franchise quarterback without earning it, I don't think they would like that. I mean, obviously they would play the game, but I think for people to say that, somebody just wants to, they're just going to give it to them. I mean, at the end of the day, Kyle and John want to win too, and they're going to do what's ultimately they think is best for the team, whether they're right or wrong. But I think that's the place they're working from. So
I think I'm going to push back a little bit, but probably not the way that you think I'm going to. I think he's being given the job in this perspective that they're not going to make him quote unquote compete in training camp, but that's not because he hasn't already done things to earn the job, if that makes sense. Like, he's already done enough by playing the way he did to earn the job. So they're not going to make him compete in this training camp. So I think both sides can be right. Like, I don't think they're going to make him quote unquote compete, but I don't necessarily think they have to make him compete based off of how he played, because that does override really anything you can do in training camp. So unless he looks awful for some reason, he's going to be given the job.
Yeah, given the job. And I agree. I think last season what he did is he earned the right to be where he's at now. Yeah. Now he's got to earn staying there. And I think if Trey had some kind of monumental games and just comes on and it's clear that he's the better quarterback, then Trey deserves the job. And I think Brock will do his job and just be ready for when the next opportunity comes. He'll be there to help the team win, just like he did last year. So, I mean, that's the kind of person Brock is. I suspect that's the same kind of person Trey is. And at the end of the day, I'm rooting for both of them. Obviously I have my biases because of my relationship to Brock and his family, but
yeah.
But I know Brock really likes Trey and wishes him success. And at the end of the day, they want the team to win. They want to get a ring, regardless of how it gets there, how they get there. So
I think they both have a respect and a like actually for each other, which is interesting because the fan base is like, but they actually like each other. But again, this is why I say I don't think anybody should hate on the player. If you're upset about the situation, be upset at Shanahan.
Yeah.
And in the front office, they're the ones that have put the fan base in this situation. It's like what's the whole thing of, if you put black ants and red ants in a jar together, they can coexist, but the moment you shake the jar up, they fight. That's what this is. Shanahan and the front office have put two quarterbacks in the jar with all the fan base and everything's great, and then they just shook it up. And now everybody's pissed off. Like, don't be mad at the ants. Be mad at the person shaking the jar. Like, they're the ones that can't choose a damn quarterback. Don't be mad at the player. It's stupid.
Exactly. So I don't want to take up much more of your time. I'm going to keep trying to get to that Pittsburgh game, and if I do, I'll let you know.
Yes.
Company's based out of there, and I'm trying to find a reason to be there that week. So if I can, I'm definitely going to that game, and if I do, I'll let you know. Grab a beer or something.
Yeah, most definitely. I would love to do that, man. Definitely hit me up if you're in Pittsburgh. Appreciate you calling in, Mike. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right, take care. Thanks for the content.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Somebody asked where I got this hat. I want to say Fanatics. There's a link in my description for Fanatics. If it wasn't Fanatics, then just type in 49ers golf hat and it'll pop up. That's where you get the rope thing is on the golf hats. So, all right, where's TC? All right, we're going TC, Phil, Alan. Phil, you got to change your name, man. Just be not. You don't actually have to, but like every time, I can't say that. I'm not going to say the first part of the name. I just feel like that's super sus. You know it's sus coming from another. You know it, and I almost say it every time. You don't really have to change your name, but you're going to make me say it, and then I'm going to have to be like, all right, in stream right now. All right, we're going TC. Let's go. What's up, TC?
Jesse, can you hear me, bro?
I got you.
Yeah, nah, I was at camp today, bro, so I just was tapping in with you. I know you're going to be there a little later. I couldn't catch up with Grant. He was all the way on the other side, and you know how they do at camp sometimes.
Yes, sir. Are you going to be there every day, or?
No, I'll be back on the 4th.
Okay,
on August 4th.
That'll be my last. Okay, that'll be my last day there. So yes, we'll definitely see each other.
Yeah. I didn't even know Rohan was up top ahead of me because I was so lost in the sauce watching Lance and watching everybody, bro. And I was like, Rohan was kind of right by me, and I didn't even say. And I was like, dang, bro, how I miss you.
Yeah.
I kind of went Matt Mieko though a little bit. Yeah, I was missing a bunch. I was like, man, I was with my kid though, so I was like, you know what? I was on some other stuff, bro. So, but anyway, Trey looks sharp, bro. You know what I'm saying? From what I've seen, he looks sharp. And Shandy gonna have to make a decision. You get what I'm saying? I know it's like back and forth with the whole situation, but you know how I feel about the situation, man. I believe and I know that Trey is gonna take the position and run from it. You should have seen how a lot of the fan base, bro, was looking at me with my Trey Lance jersey today.
Oh, I bet you were getting some side-eye looks, man. I bet you were.
Bro, listen, I seen like maybe out of, I don't know how many people was there. I seen like 2 Trey Lance jerseys. He seen me. I was like, what's up, Lance? When he was warming up and all that, doing a throw across the body throws and all that. But you should have seen some of the fan base, bro. How they were just looking at me and just eager. It's sad. It's sad to see this fan base. And you know what? I'm not big up on the whole like political and the whole like race situation, but I'm starting to really think that I know Grant touched on it a little bit. I know a lot of people are like, I don't know, Crocky, and a lot of people are like, I don't know, man. But me, I'm starting to see that now. I'm starting to see like a lot of this fan base really don't want a black quarterback, bro, to be the starting QB. I don't want to go out on a limb like that, but what I've seen with my eye, and I've seen how a lot of that fan base looked at it with the Lance jersey, I'm starting to lean that way. Seriously.
Here's the thing.
It's actually sad.
Yeah, I want to say this because as a content creator, I think that when a conversation like this comes up, it's easy to tiptoe around it because people get pissed. Oh, how you always playing the race card and this and that, and you can lose views. And so I get it from that perspective. The thing is it's obviously not everybody, right? But if you're offended, I'll just say this. I'll make a blanket statement and I'll let it go and let you finish your 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're offended by the conversation happening, you might want to look in the mirror. I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead.
Period. You know what? And I'm not even going to carry on with it, though. I just seen a lot today, bro, that kind of disgusted me a little bit. But I see that a lot of the starters of Debo, kids starting to talk about Lance. You still there, Jesse? You kind of glitched.
I'm here. Yeah. You're glitching out a little. You're all right.
Yeah, but I see people are coming around, and like I say, I'm a stand on this, bro. It has to be a quarterback battle. Even though I'm Lance and I want Lance to start, but to dead the noise, I don't care. There's no giving Brock Purdy the position. Just like Trey couldn't get and everybody had it. Well, if Brock's 100% healthy, let these dudes duke it out. Sam and Brandon Allen, we just gonna have to make a decision as far as a third string. But as far as Lance and Purdy, that's how you dead the noise. Shanahan, if you got the balls And if you want to be a head coach, like a real head coach, not this smart genius, I'm a guy, I want to be cocky. No, bro, be a head coach. Put both of these guys and split the reps. May the best man win. That's how you decided, because it seems like the veterans on the team want a quarterback competition. But it seems like Lynch and Shanahan are really Lynch. I don't know which one it is. They just want to crown Brock. No, let these two dudes duke it out. And whoever loses, they lose. And whoever wins, wins. That'll dead the noise. But until that happens, we're going to still stay in this quarterback circus carousel that we're in.
I agree with you, man. I'm gonna let you go just because we got a delay, so it's hard to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see you next Friday.
Sorry, Jesse.
You're good. No, you're good. You're good. I just want to make sure that the show flows okay, and it's hard to on the other side. But I heard everything you said. I know you can hear everything I say. And that's why, to me, you're right. That is the only way to really settle this thing. The other way is to just choose a guy and move on from the other one. And that's why I'm so big on, and was so big on when they drafted Trey Lance, get rid of Jimmy immediately. Trey Lance is your guy. You pour all of your resources into Trey Lance, and you show the world that this is your quarterback. They didn't do that. Now they're doing the same thing to Brock right now. And the longer they keep Trey around, even if Brock's the starter, you're doing the same exact thing. Trust me. I would prefer, there's no surprise here that I think long-term, Trey Lance will be the better player. I think they should play Trey Lance and see what they have. But if they're not going to do that, then they cannot keep him around while Brock Purdy is on this roster. You can't say things like, we've got our franchise quarterback, he's our guy, we're starting him, no competition, and then keep Trey Lance around. You're not doing him any favors. And you're not doing Trey any favors. We know that because you're not playing him. But you're also not doing Brock any favors, because the moment he messes up, you see the chat. You see the chat. You see how it is on both sides. The moment, it's funny, Trey Lance plays good today or practices well. It's just T-shirts and shorts. Let me see it when the pads are on. And then it'll be, well, let me see it in the games. Well, then you'll see it in the preseason. Well, let me see it in the real game. He'll never be able to do enough. And the moment he doesn't play well, people are going to be celebrating and victory parading. That's going to go for Brock Purdy too. The moment he screws up in a game, and he's going to screw up in a game, people are going to have a field day. Just remove the problem. If you have your guy, stop hedging. Stop hedging. Make a move, go for it, and be done with it. So that's what I think. Anyways, let's bring on Phil. We got Phil, Alan, Giannis, Deshaun, Brian, Rags, and four Life Niner. There we go. Okay, let's do this. Phil, I'm telling you, man, that first part of the name, man? You almost got me sounding real sussy out here.
Hey, man, this is a name that goes back many years. You know, a lot of kids grew up with the nickname of Papa. You know, it's just
all right. I feel like I can't. Yeah, I just can't do it.
It's not for you. What can we say? Number one, man, I really just want to thank you for everything that you do. For everybody else, you're just so unselfish. You're so giving, and it's just really refreshing to have somebody that just comes from a real even perspective. You know what I mean? And kind of shoots it straight. You know what I'm saying? Because most people, they don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I peep your style. I see how you get down. I just want to commend you for that. You know.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Phil. Really, from the bottom of my heart. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And especially representing God. I appreciate that more than anything else. Yeah. All right. Getting into the Niners, you know, it's a lot, man. You know, of course, it all starts with the coach. You know, I think it's easy to criticize people, you know, for all the negative things that you can see. But it's a lot harder to recognize all the things that you don't see, things behind the scenes, you know, just like where we came from to where we are. I give them a lot of credit. You know what I mean? Like, the Niners came from a very bad place, and they're in a very good place, and that is largely due to him and his dad and their system. So I give them credit for that. However, I don't excuse them for not being able to get the quarterback situation right. You know what I mean? That's vital. That's vital. So, that's one of the things I think is one of the greatest flaws of Kyle Shanahan, is not being able to look in the mirror, like you just said. I think if he could do that, then he could see like people need help. If you can't help them, get somebody that can help them, and just kind of get out the way. I don't know. We all have our flaws, but I think that's his biggest flaw. It's just kind of being able to see that he needs help in certain areas, and just letting somebody else control that. I was commenting on the last show with you and Grant on Colton McKivitz?
Yeah, Colton McKivitz. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I've been going back and looking at all the different tapes. I looked at the last game last year that we had, and actually he did some some of it was in garbage time, but some of it wasn't. He did a pretty good job against JJ Watt. He's like, I think it's better for everybody to really go back and go look at all of the games. Like, it's different when you watch it the first time, and then when you dissect it, when you're actually looking for something. Like I'm sure you found the Trent Williams tipping plays because you were dissecting it. You know what I mean? And you found that, like, wait, there's something that's repetitive. I keep seeing this. So like, it's easy to say he's not a good lineman. It's easy to say, but it's a lot harder to go back, look at the tape, and look at the proof. You know what I mean? Like, it's there. So I encourage everybody to do that. Like, don't just go off of what somebody says. Like, actually go back, look, use your brain. Don't just go off of what I say, what Jesse says, what Grant says, or anybody says. Like actually, think for yourself. Like, Josh Johnson shouldn't have never been in the game. Like, everybody wants to blame Josh Johnson. It wasn't his fault. Like, why was he even in the game, man? Like, I don't know, man.
He was put in a bad spot. He was put in a bad spot.
Saying the fumble, even a fumble snap, that was.
I lost him. He was starting to cut out at the end. It's all right. His 5 minutes was up. I heard most of what he's saying. I do agree with that, by the way. I think that's a great take and something that we should pay attention to more. I remember Ambry Thomas, his rookie season. There were a few plays where he was getting mossed, and people were like, oh, he sucks and this and that. And I went back and I watched him, brought out all 22, just dissected him. Like, you watch him play in and play out, it looked pretty good. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's making a big play in a big game, and people took recognition towards that. Now, obviously, that hasn't translated a couple years later, unfortunate for him. But the McKivitz thing, and that's why when I was on with Grant, I wanted to get his take, because I really do get the feeling that he's just given McKivitz no shot, which he may be right about that, but I haven't seen it, and I haven't watched him snap in and snap out enough to just be like, yeah, he's got no shot of being good. And until I do that, I think that would be unfair of me. And he may have done that. You know what I mean? So we may be in different spots with that, but it would be unfair of me to make a decision on who McKivitz is without just watching McKivitz for a few games and focusing in on him and then coming with an explanation. So we'll see. Adrian says Trey times BA is going to take over camp again. Brandon Ayuk is, if Brandon Ayuk's not a captain this year, that's a shame. He should have been a captain last year. Leonidas says great content for the nailer he's putting out with everyone. God bless you. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Definitely working hard. It's the season, man. This is where we're at. Like, we are at the season. It is time to get it cracking as much as possible. Let's go to Alan and then Giannis. What's up, Alan?
Hey, how's it going tonight, Jesse?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was listening to your show with Brandon. I'm about almost 3 hours into it. I listened at work.
That was a marathon, right?
Yeah, and your guys' content was great. It just all the takes. I'm with you 100%. I want to see Trey. I'm like I don't care who's behind center. Like I'm gonna root for whoever's back there, but
For sure.
But I want to see what we have in Trey. We gave up so much capital for it, and
Yep.
I want him to at least have a shot at it. And I know they're doing this back and forth thing, 2 days with Brock, 2 days with Trey and Sam, trying to work Brandon Allen in there too to see if he can beat out Sam or whatever. So, I'm looking forward to the season. This is I'm not usually a preseason guy, but the last couple of years I've been like, oh, I want to see what's cooking because Trey Lance, when we traded for him, I wanted to see what he was all about and make sure that it was the right call. And so far, it hasn't panned out that way, but you never know. There's always upside and potential for somebody in their early 20s. And if it works out this year where he takes it over and is actually able to go all 17, then I think we're still playoff bound. And I agree with you. We're somewhere in that neighborhood of 12-5, even with the schedule that they gave us and all the, back and forth across the country and all that. So I think our defense is going to help us, but our offense is still going to score. So, and I think Lynch said it in his presser yesterday. They're working on getting Bosa's contract taken care of, but hey, these things take time and it's okay. As long as he's there for preseason and for game one, who cares how long the contract takes and pay the man,
Well, he's going to come in shape, so that's not something we have to worry about with Bosa. So that's not going to be a concern whatsoever. And then, and I don't know if you got a phone call because you just cut out, so I just kind of jumped in there. But you're right. I mean, it's going to take time. I really think it's going to happen before Monday. I think Sunday after practice has been my prediction for a while. We'll see. But I think the pads come on Monday, and I think that's usually kind of their deadline where they're trying to get things done. So let's hope they can get it done as soon as possible. But if not, Bosa's going to be fine.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Jesse?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. So yeah, no, I totally Bosa's going to come in shape. They always do. And so I'm not even worried about that at all. It's just, he's going to make, your guy yesterday said somewhere in the upper $38 million range. Okay, if that's what it's going to cost, you kind of have to eat it and do it. But it gets, at some point we have to see what else we have in the future too, because next year we're going to have BA and he's going to demand a big contract, and then the year after that we're going to have to make another decision with Debo, whether or not we're going to try and trade him during the season or try and get him under a longer term contract so he stays with the Niners until he retires or however that works out, and it's very few and far between these days that one player stays with the team that drafted them all the way through their career. Steph Curry with the Warriors is the only one I can think of in recent vintage, or most of those Warriors, in recent vintage that have actually stayed with the same team all the way through their career. And Joe Montana did it. Just look at the GOATs that did it, Joe Montana. Jerry Rice, I know at the end of his career went to Seattle and the Raiders and became a journeyman.
Even Montana ended up in KC, for a couple years stint.
Yeah,
I mean, it happens.
Yeah, for a couple year stint, and he did well there, and but that was the tail end of his career. I look at that as it was time to give way to Steve, and that's who I grew up watching for the most part was Steve Young, and then Jeff Garcia after that. And after Jeff Garcia, I kind of fell off the wagon for a couple of years because I just got so lost in work, and I still paid attention, but I didn't get a chance to watch every game like I do now. So
yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Jesse, and keep giving out the great content. And we'll see you again next time.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon. Have a good one. Thanks for calling in.
You too.
All right, later. Sensible takes. I think so. Leonidas says, here's $10. And I already gave you 10, but just take that. And then Edgardo says, I love Bosa, but 35+ million is crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of money, man. It is a lot of money. Man. Leonidas says, I listen to Jesse every day along with Grant, David, and Larry. That's good. I mean, I know that like David, as far as like a spectrum of where I'm at and where he's at would be completely different sides. I think it's good to take in different thoughts and takes and kind of make a decision for yourself. You know what I mean? So I think that's good. I think you should listen to David and guys that have opposing opinions for sure. All right, let's go to Giannis here. What's up, Giannis? How you doing?
Hey, it's been a while.
It's been a long while. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I was intending to call in the off season, but I think I missed that. See, I should have had the notification on YouTube, for the live shows. But I did it tonight, so I'm glad I called in tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I wanted to take this in two different directions. First, regarding the coach, and then I will go to the quarterback stuff.
Okay.
Regarding the coach, it's so funny to me because I have been following the NFL since 2012. So you could say most of Kyle Shanahan's career in the NFL, I've been following the NFL. So the funny thing is I play fantasy football. And that 2014 Browns team, I had this guy called Isaiah Crowell as my third running back. And I promise you, like those first, I think, 10 games, Brian Hoyer legitimately was a Pro Bowler. Like he was playing insane ball. And we're talking about Brian Hoyer. And they actually Cleveland beat Pittsburgh for the first time in a long while. So to me, what I see in Kyle is I see somebody that can elevate a quarterback. So let's say you're average, he can make you look good. You're good, he can make you look very good. You're very good, like a Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan is very good. Guess what? He looked great. I mean, you could say it's just 2 years, but Matt, I wish they stayed together so we could have seen more. But to me, he's a quarterback elevator. Even though we say, and everybody agrees, he's not a good evaluator of talent, but to me, he can elevate a quarterback. Like you can't dispute that after what we've seen with all these years and all these quarterbacks, because there's no way you can tell me that Jimmy G is a top 5 quarterback. He simply isn't. But his output was that of a top 5 quarterback. And we don't even need to discuss Purdy and his 8 games last year. I'm not counting the Philadelphia game. So to me, Kyle is worthy of staying. And honestly, a few things go a different way. Kyle has a Super Bowl now, and nobody is discussing Kyle's persona or whatever. Because here's the thing. You can't change personas. Not everybody is the Andy Reid archetype. Look at Bill Belichick. Does anybody dispute him? No, because he's won. So I feel like if Kyle wins, nobody's going to dispute his methods. But he has to win to silence everybody. I do agree with that. Regarding the quarterback.
Can I highlight this real quick? Yeah, Giannis, I want to highlight this real quick because I love the way that you said this. There's a difference between evaluator, elevator, and somebody who's actually going to take a quarterback and develop them. So he may not be a developer. He may not be a great evaluator, but he certainly is an elevator. I like that. That's a very eloquent way to put it. So anyways, keep going.
Thank you. Now, regarding the quarterback situation, to me, the way I read it right now, it kind of reads like the 2021 situation, which is crazy because Jimmy G had a lot more experience with the team than Purdy has now. But to me, I feel like, what's his name? Purdy would have to play bad in games a lot. To me, that's how I see it, for Lance to have a chance. I don't think training camp, and we love training camp because football is back and all of that. I don't think I'm going to take much away from it, except this is the caveat, as always with the NFL, an injury setback or an injury of any kind. To me, that's the equalizer. But nothing to me performance-wise in camp is going to tell me a lot. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I mean, I'm going to take a lot from camp personally, as far as, how I view the situation and what have you. But I don't think there's a lot that can be done in camp for somebody to take over that position. And that I agree with, for sure.
Yeah. So we're going to see what's going to happen. I mean, I hope for the best, because to me, honestly, it's sad. Because if you look at, when teams get off the bus, tell me another team who has more stars getting off the bus than the Niners. They don't exist. So how do we not have a Super Bowl, man? It's sad. Honestly, it's sad.
Because the quarterback the quarterback is not only the equalizer, it's the elevator of a roster.
Yep. No, you're 100% right. So we're gonna see. Let's hope for the best. But one last note. I'm sorry, I really forgot this point. I was gonna bring it up. So I was looking at the passing charts, Jesse, for the years that Shanahan has been with us. I'm talking about passing on first down. Yeah. And I noticed a weird trend, and which is 2020 and 2017 were the 2 years where the Niners passed the most on first down. Both years they were top 10. I found that strange, because to me that kind of told me, because most of 2017 was no Jimmy, so that kind of told me that those 2 years there was no Jimmy. I kind of feel like, watch that stat, Jesse, this year. The passing percentage on first down. That's all. Thank you, fam.
All right, bro. Thanks for calling in. He's calling in from Holland, by the way. So appreciate you, Giannis, for doing that. What's interesting? I don't know if I have a prediction on exactly what it's going to look like on first down, but what's interesting to me is Kyle chooses the strangest times to go all in. When Trey Lance was making his first start in Arizona, he went for it on every fourth down possible. It was like, dude, you never go for it on fourth down. This is weird. And then he gets in these weird situations in games where he'll go for it on fourth down when he probably shouldn't, and vice versa. I don't know. The decision making is another thing that stands out to me for Kyle, that I'm like, I don't know that it's always that great, especially in pressure situations. When you have the quarterback that was the best quarterback on that roster, clearly in Jimmy Garoppolo over guys like Mullins and Beathard, you don't throw on first down. But when Mullins and Beathard play, you throw on first down. Seems a little strange. I don't know. But that's a great stat. All right, we're going to go to Deshaun, then Brian, then Rags, then For Life Niner, then Jeff, and then Alan. Let's go. What's up, Deshaun? Can you hear me, Deshaun? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, I'm going to go to Brian. Actually, let me try to go to Deshaun again.
Can you hear me?
I got you now. Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Yeah, man, I always tap in with Crocky. I wanted to tap in with you, man. I watch you. This is my first time actually jumping on your I'll be on your live, and sometime I'll comment and throw some money in there with you and Greg Cohn and stuff like that. So, I wanted to come in and say what's up to you, brother. Now, quarterback situation. We're still here. We're still here. Now, I'm gonna say my little things about Brock Purdy. You came in, played good. A lot of things that I look at with Brock Purdy that he had an advantage, not just coming in the middle of the season, but I think like he was fresher coming in the middle of the season than a lot of the teams he was playing, because in the NFL, they got the mantra is it's a game of attrition. One thing that we don't look at in Brock is whether he can actually survive a whole season. Is he going to get stronger, or is he going to get weaker and wear down? He's only had 8 games. And let's be honest, in those 8 games, you start to see him wear down. Now, whether that was for injury purposes or whether that was for, his teams catching up to him, we don't know. We're going to find that out. And I am on the bandwagon of, a real quarterback competition, and being honest with a quarterback competition, because I think like that can only breathe greatness in the whole team. We got competition everywhere, but on the quarterback position. Now, I respect what Brock did, but you got to have a an eye for it. And when I see the eye, he just looks like he looks like a system quarterback. And what's fed to me as special, when they use the word special or franchise quarterback, in my mind, what I have to do is I have to look at franchise quarterbacks and then compare him to them. And then that's a disservice to who he is. Now, you say franchise quarterback, I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes, I'm looking at Justin Herbert, I'm looking at those special guys. And one of the things that we are missing is that special guy. Now, I can appreciate what Brock Purdy does, but it just seems like we're going to be just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, Brock's story is far from written. And I want to be clear. Even if I'm clear, people are going to come up with their opinions regardless. It doesn't matter how clear I am. Let's keep it a buck for a second. But he definitely can get better, and I expect that he'll improve. He has areas of improvement. I would be shocked if he was ever that franchise quarterback. And it sounds like, Deshaun, you and I look at a franchise quarterback the same. Some people would look at Dak. Some people would look at Kirk Cousins and say those are franchise quarterbacks. I would disagree. I don't think those guys are franchise quarterbacks. I think those are the guys that make big money, and then they put your team in purgatory. You're always going to be in the playoffs, but you're never actually going to win the big game because they make too much money for their actual skill set and what they bring to a team. They're very good. They're like that next level behind the main guys, but they're not guys that you want to pay. They can put you in trouble. The guys that you want to pay are the franchise guys, the consistent top 7-ish guys. That's a franchise quarterback. So if you think Brock can get into that tier with the Herberts and the Burrows and the Allens and the Mahomes and the Lamars, potentially Hurts is trending that direction, and so is Lawrence. All of those guys have special traits. I mean special traits, and not just one, multiple special traits.
And I feel like we're
I don't know.
I feel like we're so thirsty to find that guy to where we talk ourselves into a guy being more valuable than what he is. Because I like what the other person says when he said that Cal Shanahan is a quarterback elevator.
It's perfect.
But on
great
the
wording.
And if he's in an elevator, then why do we look at this guy as we want to throw him in special realm? Like, that's just, and I just think I'm predicting, a fall, not because I want to fall, not because he's not going to be good, because he's not going to be able to reach those expectations. 33 points a game, the undefeatedness. He's not going to be able to reach that plateau. So it's going to be a very, very eye-opening thing. If he gets in there and he bombs in his practice and you start to hear those rumblings come out, then I think next year, if we don't trade Trey Lance, my prediction is next year we're really going to have a quarterback competition. I don't think it happens this year because they're gonna lean on the regular season as they should. But next year he gets, because I don't think Brock's making it through the whole season. I don't think Trey's making it through the whole season. With the way our offensive line is set up.
Oh, bro, I don't know if any quarterback's making all 17. That I agree with. I'm going to get you out of here, Deshaun. Right. Hey, thanks for calling in. You can call in anytime, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother. Keep going. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. Love the support. Yeah, I mean, that one's tough. I mean, I feel like if Trey Lance isn't the clear-cut number one quarterback going into week 1 next year, which a lot's going to happen between now and then for that to come to fruition, then they're going to have to, if there's any chance at bringing him back, it's going to have to be a rework deal because they can't pick up the 5th-year option. Not under those circumstances, not to compete. So, I don't know. That'll be interesting. That's an interesting take. I haven't really thought about it like that. All right, we're going to go to Brian, Rags, 4Life Niner, Jeff, and then Alan. All right, let's go. What's up, Brian?
Hey Jesse, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. This is the first time calling in.
Hey, I
I
appreciate
just
it.
want to,
I
yeah,
definitely would say I didn't recognize you, so that makes sense.
yeah. I have a lot of respect for what you do, and you God-fearing man. Got tons of respect for that. I
Thank you,
grew up.
bro.
My dad was a preacher, so you know, nothing but love on that front.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Growing up with your dad as a preacher, that's always an interesting one because I feel like that either brings people closer or it pushes them completely away. So that's interesting.
Man, I thank him every day for that foundation.
Mm, there you go. Then your dad
So
was a really good dad. That's good to hear.
for sure. So this Trey Lance, Brock Purdy stuff, man. I'm so torn on this. I'm an Arizona kid. I'm 40 now, but I live here in Arizona. My nephew played against Brock Purdy in high school, right there at Perry. So I
Okay.
would like to see Brock Purdy succeed because of that.
How
But
was he
the
as a high
reality,
school player? Was he really good in high school?
yeah, I didn't foresee this,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest with you. I mean,
But was he like one of the top quarterbacks in the state type thing? Like
oh,
everybody,
yeah.
all the
Oh,
all
for
the
sure.
paper prints about Brock and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, but that being said, I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's that guy. I think a franchise quarterback elevates the guys around him.
Mm.
I think that the guys around Brock Purdy elevate him. And, I hate to say that, but, I got nothing but love and respect for Brock Purdy and what he did. But I think it's the team that's elevating Brock Purdy at this point. And I think the franchise quarterback is going to elevate the team no matter who's around him.
Yeah,
And I,
I agree with that. And again, I think it really comes down to how you look at franchise quarterback because some people look at it a little bit differently. You know what I mean? So the definition is personal. But I agree with that. Yes, that's the way I
yeah.
view a franchise quarterback.
And I think it's crazy, people think that Brock Purdy is not that doesn't have pressure. I completely disagree with that. Maybe not right now. He's playing with house money,
I think
and
there's a
it,
lot of pressure.
and I think he has he's good in pressure in game situations, but he doesn't have the pressure of the franchise on his shoulders yet.
Hmm.
And I was watching you and Grant, and I made a comment on Grant's show. If you trade away Trey Lance, now you basically gave 3 firsts and a third for Brock Purdy as well.
Oh yeah,
And
that was your comment. You're right. Fantastic comment, and never thought about it that way. But that's exactly what you're doing. Yes.
right, and that's a whole nother level of pressure that he has not had to experience.
Mm.
Nobody had. Maybe now people are starting to get expectations of him, but prior to this point, there has not been a lot of expectations on him to be the franchise guy. As soon as Trey Lance is gone, it's you, buddy. it's for lack of a better term, crap or get off the pot. You better show up. And I don't know, once you have to pay Purdy and you start losing guys like CMC and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, can can you carry a team? I just don't see that from him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's interesting about the Purdy situation is it does. He's not Jimmy Garoppolo. He's different than Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think the similarity is that I think he might fool a lot of fans for a couple years because this roster is so good. And
Right.
so I'm curious to see where we're at, in a year from now, 2 years. I mean, we may find out before then one way or another. But I have a feeling this could be a situation certainly where, the 49ers make a deep run. He plays, good again. And people think that, oh my, we've got the guy, just like they thought with Jimmy. And
Right.
some people thought all the way through last year that Jimmy was still the guy until he got hurt again. And they're like, oh, another guy can come in and do exactly what he did. That's really weird. Maybe he's not the guy. Okay, well, maybe Brock's the guy because he's a little bit better. I feel like this might drag on for a while, but we'll see. I mean,
I think it could
again,
drag on a little bit
yeah.
longer than Jimmy for the fact that, you know, Brock might have limitations as far as his arm talent goes, but he has the escapability and the mobility.
He's also very strong mentally. Brock is a very strong mental individual, I believe.
And I think that can carry him a little bit farther and longer than what Jimmy was able to do. Mm-hmm. But there's also a caveat to that too, because he does run around, he does try to escape. He's not the biggest dude in the world, and we've seen how often he's gotten hurt in the 8 games he's played. So, how healthy is he going to stay, especially on this team with this coach?
Yeah. That's going to be tough, man. That's going to be tough. Brian, good points, man. Great. That super chat that you left with Grant was spot on, right on point. That if he becomes the guy, then all of a sudden the pressure is, we spent those picks on him. He definitely is going to have to play through that. Appreciate your call in anytime, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Jesse. Yep.
All right, man. Later. I think Brock has a ton of pressure on him, personally. I mean, most of y'all are putting that pressure on him, because let's think this through for a second. The 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl, allegedly, because the quarterback has been just almost good enough, but not quite good enough, right? So if we all agree that Brock is at least a little bit better than Jimmy, some people think way better, whatever. If we think he's at least a little bit better than Jimmy, shouldn't that be enough to win a Super Bowl? So what happens if they don't win a Super Bowl? Right? Like, that's a lot of pressure. And the team can't go through Trey Lance growing pains because they got to win now. Well, that means that they're telling you they think Brock Purdy should be able to win now. And if he doesn't, you think Debo's going to get blamed, or Kittle, or Trent Williams, or Fred Warner, or Bosa, or Hufanga. No. Kyle never gets blamed for anything. He's not going to get blamed as long as they make an NFC championship. It'll be Purdy. So there's a lot of pressure on Purdy. Now, I also think he's very mentally strong, and I think he can handle that pressure. I do. But I don't know if he's good enough to win the Super Bowl and fight through that pressure. Like, it's one thing to be able to handle it mentally and be confident. He may have that, but he also just may not be that dude. Right? And then that's where the issue comes in. So we'll see. All right, we're going to go to Rags, 4Life Niner, Jeff, Allen, and then Jaybird. All right, let's go. We got 2 of you guys, Ragsbird and Jaybird. I like it. Okay. What's up, Rags? How you doing?
What's popping with the Niner population, man?
Hey, man. Living our best life right now.
Oh, man. I'm mad because I was driving all day, man. Literally. And I was riding in the truck with a Viking fan, so I couldn't watch the instant reactions of the training camps, man. So I'm lost right now. So hopefully you will make a video, or made one already, and I go watch.
Yeah, well, I didn't, because I'm not at camp yet. I won't be at camp until Sunday. But I will say the biggest takeaways from camp are Ayuk looks like an absolute savage. Danny Gray and Ambry Thomas look a little iffy. Ty Davis Price looks phenomenal, very explosive. And Trey Lance looked really good. Those are the biggest takeaways.
That's what's up, man. But I wanted to say this, man, because people are trying to take Brock Purdy out of this quarterback competition. I want to say Brock Purdy is most definitely 1,000% involved right now, man. And now, if you want to get you in the ring, now if you don't want to fight back, that's on you. But it is a fight going on, so that's on you if you don't want to swing back now. But yes, and Trey, shout out to Trey, man. That's my guy. Everybody know that, and he's doing what he's supposed to do, man. He pulling himself up by his bootstraps. He is taking I told y'all he got a chip. He got a chip. He ironing out his own wrinkles, man. He making, like you just said it. You said, what did you just say, man? I'm gonna paraphrase. You said something about Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance, and if he get a shot, he got the growing pains. That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And that man is ironing out his own growing pains, bro. When Kyle Shanahan said Trey Lance did that himself, I said, oh, it's only cracking. That makes him a dangerous man to be like, oh, y'all want to trade me? Y'all want to talk behind my back? Okay, watch this. Trade this deal. Trade this deal. Yes, I like that.
No, you're right. I mean, I'll say this. you find out who's who and what's what when backs are against the wall.
Yes.
Right? Like everybody can be a front runner. Everybody can be a front runner. When you're the guy and everybody loves you and things are going good, everybody can play under those circumstances. Not everybody can play with their back against the wall. Not everybody can come through in the clutch with their back against the wall. Not everybody's built for that. I think Trey's built for that. I do.
A prime example and another example of what Trey did, like how he came in and then he got hurt though, and then somebody took his spot. Because real talk, Jimmy was gonna take that spot back because Jimmy was on the roll if he wouldn't have got hurt. So Trey was already in the corner already out the gate. Then Purdy came in, and then he the golden child looking little. I don't know what the hell, boy. I don't know what it was. Goddamn, I thought he was gonna be on the Wheaties box. Goddamn, they giving him wrestling belts and stuff. I was like, wow. But Kenny Pickett started. They benched him. He came back in, got benched again, and then turned up at the end of the year. Now he the starter. You got to take it on your own. You got to take it on your own shoulder and turn up for real.
Everybody's got different paths, man. There's so many different paths. There's so many different ways to go about it. You know, you've seen guys like Geno and Kurt Warner not really get started until they're like 30. You've seen guys like Herbert and Mahomes. Herbert really come in right away and play elite. Mahomes, his second year, play elite. You've seen Aaron Rodgers sit for multiple years and be great. You've seen guys like Tua go through the same situation you just talked about, where it's like he's playing, he's benched, he's playing, he's benched, then he's hurt. There's so many different ways to go about it, and it's really hard to write a perfect path for anybody. Everybody's different. Everybody needs different things, and everything happens for a reason. We'll see what Trey's got. I mean, it may not happen on the 49ers. He might really have to be waiting another couple years to, like, for real get a shot. And when he does, he's going to have to take the bull by its horns for sure and do whatever he can.
I think that bull getting put in a headlock this year. You hear me? Trey about to turn up, man. I'm manifesting it. I'm telling you. And I watched like 4 minutes of the Cone and Stat. I watched 4 minutes. I just jumped in the shower. So I watched like 4 minutes, and they said Trey turned up. Dropping
He did.
dimes. Yeah, that part. That's why I said, Purdy, you are in a fight. Is you going to fight back, or are you going to be sitting over there talking about last year? What have you done for me lately, looking motherfucker? Yes, that part. You feel me? We not about to go chasing waterfalls, man. You got to show us right now. That's why I can't wait till tomorrow. I can't wait. I want to see some video.
It's coming out. It's coming out. And that's the great thing about this, Rags, is, and I'm excited for it. Like, I genuinely wanted Purdy ready to go because I want to see it side by side. I want to see Purdy throw, Trey throw, Purdy throw, Trey throw. And I'm excited to watch that, get eyes on it, and just see it in person. It's one thing to watch the games. It's one thing to go back and watch all 22. But seeing it in person, where they're at right now, where Trey is the best he's been to this point because he's going into year 3. Purdy coming off of an injury, but also going into his second year. Like, he could be better right away as well. I want to see it side by side. I want to see it play out. And my belief really is that it's Purdy's job. He's going to have to do a lot to lose it. However, I'm still going to look at it and be able to make a decision on who I think is better right now.
Yes.
That may be Purdy. That may be Lance. I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume it's probably Purdy. You know, he's played more, but I got to see it in person. You gotta show me.
I think Purdy gonna be the best backup in the NFL. He gonna be.
Well, he would be the best backup if he was. I'll give him that.
Hey, we gonna see. That's what's up, man. Thanks for the call, man. I'm gonna definitely start calling in more, man. I love the show. You know, you Grant call, and my dude Jesse. I said my dude Jesse. You my dude Jesse. My dude
Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan, man, that's my guy. Yeah. So holla at me, man. Thanks for letting me call in, man. Have you a nice night, man.
You too. Call in anytime, man. I love that dude's energy. That dude was hilarious. He was funny, man. I liked it. All right. We got 4 Life Niner. We got Jeff. We got Alan. And then we got Jaybird. He's back there. Okay. I see. He's doing TikTok dances. He's getting a little antsy. We got it. All right. 4 Life Niner. Let's go, man. What's up, man? You're muted.
Oh, my bad.
You're good.
What's going on? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for waiting. I know you waited a while. You've been on here for a hot minute. Appreciate you for being patient.
Real business, bro. I got to go into work at 10, but it's well worth it though. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, man. First of all, I just wanted to say it's my first time calling in, but I'm a member. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man.
I wanted to tell you, bro, if you know about Art LeBeau. You know who Art LeBeau is?
I know the name. I don't know a lot about him.
Art LeBeau, bro, is out here in San Bernardino, California, in the IE. You know what I'm saying? He was a host for 99.1 KGGI, the radio station.
Okay,
bro, you have his whole persona, bro. You sound just like him. Look him up.
Okay,
hey, you sound just like him, bro. Hey, look him up. But that's another topic. But hey, I want to get on.
I'm gonna put it in the private chat so I remember. Art LeBeau, you said?
Art LeBeau.
Okay.
Yeah, look, hey, bro, you sound. When I first heard you, I was like, damn, you sound like Art LeBeau. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old head, bro. You know what I'm saying? I listen to nothing but oldies. But I want to get on Shanahan real quick, bro.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for you. Shanahan schemes, right? Do you think that with his schemes, because you know how we start off slow, right? And we start picking up, we start smacking dudes in the head, we start winning. When it's crunch time, sometimes I'll be looking at Shanahan on the sideline, he be looking stuck. Does he scheme himself out through the season? Like, how does he prepare for his schemes? Like, does he have enough schemes to get us to the promised land? You know, like, how does he prepare for that? Like, I don't understand. I'm asking you, Jesse, like, does he scheme himself out?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like paralysis by analysis, they say, right? Like over-analysis, you own a paralysis. I do. There are times that I feel like that. And it's almost weird, right? Because he's the head coach, which is, and I say this because a lot of people won't give him credit. Like if the offense is struggling, but the defense is doing really good, it's like, well, hold on, he's the head coach. So if the defense is doing good, he deserves something there. He put the pieces in place. So he is the head coach, not the offensive coordinator. But what happens is it does seem like, especially when these games get really, really tight, that he's just head buried in that play sheet. Like,
exactly.
Okay, I got to be the wizard. And it's like he likes to be in that position, but then he gets frustrated when he's in that position and it doesn't come through.
And nobody's falling in
quarterback.
Yeah, nobody's falling in line.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to think about it that way.
Yeah, and that's what bugs me a lot, bro, because like watching that quarterback show on Netflix, bro, I'm seeing Mahomes on the sideline when he had got hurt. And he's telling Andy Reid, like, no, F that. I'm staying in. Like, imagine Mahomes if we would have got him on the Niners and he's telling Shanahan that. Like, there's no way that would happen with Mahomes talking to Shanahan like that. You see what I'm saying? There's no way, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, so, but if Mahomes is over there like, no, I know I can do it, but Shanahan's all, no, F that. You ain't sticking to my schemes and my scams. Like, it's not going to work.
You know, it's funny because a lot of people are like, they try to take away from Andy Reid. Well, the only reason he won is because of Patrick Mahomes. Hold on a second.
No, that's teamwork.
He found Patrick Mahomes, traded up for Patrick Mahomes, then went to Texas Tech and learned his offense so he can incorporate it for Patrick Mahomes. And then there's a partnership there with Patrick Mahomes. You wouldn't necessarily get those things from Shanahan. You think he would have gone to Texas Tech to learn the air raid? He'd be like, no, you better learn my system. It's my system.
And that's what I'm trying to say, that chemistry that they have. Like, when Mahomes was saying that to Andy Reid, like F that, no, I'm good. I'm staying in. Like, you can see it on Andy Reid's face, like, okay, I believe you. Shanahan would be like, no, you're hurt. You're getting your ass out. Next man up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that chemistry, that's the part I was trying to get to with the schemes and the scams. Like, he needs to put that aside and start looking into his team and trusting in them and be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to call the play. I'm going to put it in your hands. You do that. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have no trust in anybody but himself. That's how I feel.
I actually look at it a little bit deeper, man. Here's how I look at it. The Wednesday installs that Kansas City put in, where they allow the players to come up with plays and try to get those into the playbook.
Yes.
That is
like,
where I really see the
that
calibration.
is team. That's the definition of team. Like, and look at how many rings they got, and they're out there having fun, bro.
Yeah, they are.
They're having. When I watched that quarterback show, bro, I was like, damn, Patrick Mahomes out there having fun, bro. Like,
he's not.
And we're over here like robots pop locking, and Shanahan's like, no, don't pop lock like that, man. You got to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro, but I love Shanahan. But then I'm just like, damn, bro. I mean, I love you, but I ain't gotta like you like that, man. Because do you really want a Super Bowl? I wish Graham would ask him, like, do you really want a Super Bowl? You know what I'm saying? Or you just want to be known in the media and just notice that we almost got there. And it's everybody else's fault, because my play calls is great.
I'm gonna end it on this real quick. I'm gonna throw this out to you, and we can either pick up the conversation next time, or we can go somewhere completely different if we forget. But Tony Dungy, I heard an interview with him 3-4 months ago, and this really, really resonated with me because I feel like this is where the 49ers potentially are at with Kyle Shanahan. He talked about when he got let go from the Bucs. And what happened there? How did that happen? How'd that go down? And he said it was a philosophy difference between him and the owners, the Glazers.
The owners, yeah.
And basically what he was saying was, I was content to be competitive year in and year out and saying we will eventually break through if we are always in the conversation. They wanted to win now. So they moved on from me. They brought in Gruden, and it worked. They won now, but then they didn't sustain that success the way I envision. And I think Kyle's kind of like that. And it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, right? But Kyle is like, hey, as long as we're always in the conversation, we'll eventually break through, to where the Rams are like Tampa Bay was, and like, hey, we don't want Tony Dungy. We don't want Kyle. We want McVay. We're trying to win one now. We'll figure out the rest after we win it, but we're winning that ring. So it's just a philosophy difference between some coaches. Kyle might be that guy.
Yeah, he might. And we can go real deep into that, but there ain't no time for it. But I just wanted to tell you about that, about his schemes. Like, is his schemes too much for the players? And like, cause he wants everything to perfection. You know what I'm saying? You either this or you ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got one of my cousins, bro. He calls himself Commander Dan, bro. He loves Washington, bro. He loves Shanahan, bro. We be going back and forth on that, bro. I don't know, bro. Hey, what do you think if like a lot of people say, oh, if we get rid of Shanahan, who would be our court? Like, who would be our coach? I think Ron Rivera would fit perfectly with the Niners, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if I want Riverboat Ron either. I like Ron, but
he's a motivator, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. It's something about the spirit and how it moves, like, and what he's been through. It's like he puts himself aside. Like, I don't know, but I feel it, bro. If we can get rid of Shanahan, I'll get Ron Rivera, bro, and I'll leave that there.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for calling in. We'll talk soon.
Hey, no problem. Part of the both.
Hey, there we go. I'm looking it up. Now I gotta know, like, who is this dude? I've heard the name. I've definitely heard the name, but I couldn't tell you where I've heard it or why I've heard it. I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up. Yeah, Riverboat Ron. I don't know about that, but I will say this, and I think really your overarching point was this, which was you can't be scared to get rid of Shanahan because he's the best option for you. Like, you can't live life in fear. If you feel like the team's there, and it never breaks through, I mean, at some point you got to move on. He may break through with someone else. It's just like a long-term relationship. You're in love, things are going great, but it's just something's missing. She's a dime piece, but it's just not for you. So you move on. She finds happiness. She gets married and has kids. You're not mad, because you got to go find your own. Like, that may be the situation with the 49ers. And unfortunately, Shanahan might be the type of guy that goes and wins a Super Bowl with someone. He might do exactly what Dungy did. Get close, doesn't break through, goes to the Colts, wins the Super Bowl. That could happen. You can't be afraid, though. All right, we're gonna go to Jeff Allen, and then Jay Bird is cracking me up. All right, what's up, Jeff?
Jesse, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. That was perfect timing, right as the timer hit 5 minutes for you. Perfect.
Yeah, man, this is my first time calling into the show. I'm a big fan of you and Grant.
Thank you, bro. This is a lot of first-time callers tonight. I like this. This is good.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. And one of the main reasons why I had to call on tonight was because of the thumbnail. I believe it was Trent Williams on there, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And I'm gonna say this: we got to get the ring this year because this could be potentially Trent Williams' last year with us, and we're not replacing that dude once he retires. I don't care if you draft a left tackle in the first round for the next 5 years. You're not replacing that guy. And my thing is this: if we win the Super Bowl this year, he'll probably retire.
Oh, for sure. But at that point, we got the ring, right? Like,
right.
If we got the ring, we got the ring. If he retires and we don't have the ring, that's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough.
I mean, I'm not even sure who his backup is right now, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean,
Watson, I think
they got options, but they're not. It's going to be Jalen Moore right now, but nobody feels good about that.
Yeah, and with the roster that we have now, obviously the best linebacking core in the league, the best running game in the league, Debo being one of the best weapons in the league, Ayuk on a contract year, Bosa. I mean, I can just go down the list. Shanahan, he's had his moments where he's choked in the biggest games, right? But I think having an older mind, a guy who's been a head coach before on multiple teams and Wilkes, he's going to have that power to, walk up to him and say a thing like, hey, don't block Hassan Reddick with your backup tight end. And if we're being honest, I know that looks like a stupid play, but D'Amico or Robert Saleh would never – they would know better to say that to him.
They would never say it to him, ever.
Yeah, never.
It would never happen.
I feel like Steve Wilkes would. I really do.
Maybe, or maybe he's looking for the next thing too, and he's like, "Hey, I got my jumping off point right here. I'll just go there a couple years, do my thing. I know I'm going to get a job if I stay here and keep this number one defense. So I'm out in 2 years. You'll get your compensatory picks, and everything will be good. Just keep it pushing."
Yeah, but we got no excuses this year. We've got to get the job done. Shanahan got probably his dream of a player in Christian. I mean, I can't think of a better duo in the league, to be honest. So get the job done this year. I don't care if Brock Purdy's this or that. I think Brock Purdy's a franchise quarterback. But regardless if he is or not, he's better than Jimmy. I mean,
facts.
So, and what were we all saying when it was Jimmy? It was, well, we can, we can't blame Shanahan because all the guys that have gotten rings have guys like Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford's. Well, none of them have the roster that we have right now. None of them. Even the Rams roster when they won the Super Bowl is not as good as ours right now.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. What do you think the narrative will be? Let's fast forward, go way into the future, and let's say they don't win the Super Bowl again. They come up short. Do you think the narrative is Kyle Shanahan's not good enough to get it done, or do you think it all falls on Purdy? Because I think the major narrative will be it's all Purdy's. Like, Purdy's the reason they couldn't get it done. They still don't have a quarterback. And I think that's unfair, but that's the way that I feel it'll go down.
It's got to fall on Shanahan. I think it's got to. Maybe in some fans' eyes, it'll fall on Purdy just because, I mean, he's the quarterback, and we've always kind of blamed our quarterbacks. But not me personally. But I feel like across the media, they're going to start really questioning if Shanahan can get over the hump. I mean, you're the one who went to Jed and Lynch and said, hey, let's go after a big-time piece in Hargrave. Let's pay him $84 million. This roster is too big. I don't care if your quarterback was Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold could get the job done with this team, to be honest.
I mean, this team's stacked, and I've said it. If I say the result is NFC Championship, but I don't tell you the quarterback, I think you could see a path where all three of these guys could be the
For
starter
sure.
and they get that far. You know what I mean?
For sure. And
So,
one question for you. So you said earlier, what is your like your idea of a franchise quarterback? What did
yeah.
you end up saying yours was again?
Mine's one that can carry a franchise. So realistically, every year, I would say for the most part, there's 7 or 8 guys year in and year out that are that dude. And then usually quarterbacks 9 and 10, sometimes 8, 9, and 10 are guys that are really good, but they're kind of interchangeable, meaning like 8 through 12 is usually guys where they're always near the top 10, but they can fluctuate who's there and who's not. Guys like Dak and Cousins, like
Right.
maybe one year Kirk Cousins is a top 10 guy. Maybe the next year it's Dak, and they kind of rotate through. Those guys are the guys that get paid, and you may look at them as top 10 quarterbacks, but they're not franchise quarterbacks. I think your franchise will go in purgatory. I need one of those guys that year in and year out you can count on being a top 7, top 8 guy in this league.
So yeah, I agree with that, but the reason why I think people kind of leave out is I think Purdy's a franchise guy, and it's too early to tell fully,
For
but
sure. It is. You're right.
yeah, but in terms of what we've seen so far in the locker room, his leadership, his confidence, but he's still extremely humble, especially for a young guy.
Agree. Yes.
He has all the makeups of what, outside of the field to be a franchise guy for sure. I think if I'm being
Agree.
honest,
Yes.
if there's a guy who I would want at the mic, or I can trust to say the right things on social media, or in the locker room to pump up my team, it's him over anybody, over any quarterback. I'm serious.
Here's the thing, and this is where we agree, and then I'm gonna disagree here, and then I got to get you out because we've gone like 7 minutes. But okay. So I agree with most of what you said, meaning from the mental side, how he carries himself, the leadership aspect. I agree all those things. Brock checks every single box as a franchise guy. But at some point, you got to be elite with your traits. Now, it doesn't and when I say that, I think people assume like, oh, you got to be really fast and really strong. No. I'm not saying that. He's going to have to be uber elite for him because he's never going to have that elite arm strength. He's never going to be the fastest guy, the tallest guy. Those things are never going to happen.
Right.
However, he can get elite traits like he's elite at reading defenses and decision making and being decisive. He's elite with his accuracy. If he can check those boxes, then he definitely can break into that upper echelon of quarterback. But when I say elite, you can't just be like, oh, I'm really, really good. I'm talking like Drew Brees style elite. That's what you have to be. You have to be all worldly special in those categories for you with these physical limitations to be that dude in this league year in and year out. And he may be able to get there. Like, I'm not going to say it's impossible. If I'm making a prediction, I don't think that's realistic to expect, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, I think he can be, and
He can be.
I'll leave with this. I think being a 4-year starter, and it goes the same way for Kenny Pickett. Being a 4-year starter, I think this is who Brock is. I don't think it's a fluke. This is who he is, and I think with the same thing with Kenny Pickett, him having 9 interceptions and only 7 touchdown passes, that's who Kenny Pickett's gonna be. So,
ooh, interesting take. All right,
Jeff. I heard you're going to that Steelers game, so just be prepared.
I'll be there.
For Hargrave and Bosa to just wreck that man and that young offensive line.
Oh, yeah, I think that it's going to be tough for them to put up points. I'll say that. No doubt about it.
Yep.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Take care, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agreed really with most of what he's saying. I think this is pretty much who Purdy is too. Definitely. I think Purdy can win a lot of games. I think Purdy has a lot of experience. I think that experience is important. I haven't watched a ton of Pickett. I've watched some of Pickett. I would say I actually thought he was not bad. Not bad. I think he could win with this roster around him. I do. Maybe I'm wrong. Official BNA Music says, I swear, if CMC and Kittle only practice with Brock Purdy, I don't think that'll be the case. It'll be interesting with the 2 days on, 1 day off thing. We'll see it. But if there's like a pattern of like 3 practices in a row where Purdy's not there and they're not, that'd be a little fishy. I don't think we'll get there though. We'll see. We'll definitely see. All right, we're gonna go to Alan. What's up, Alan?
Hey Jesse, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for being patient.
Hey, no problem. I want to say thank you to you and all your content creators for Niners fans. It's very helpful, especially being across, the other side of the country.
For sure. Absolutely, man. Thanks for tapping in with me always.
I'm thankful for you, man. We appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, do you think Trey has a fair shot to beat out Purdy straight out in camp and preseason?
I don't think so, man. And I don't know what's fair and what's not, right? Like that's a loaded question because I think it's fair to weigh what was done in the regular season and postseason as well, but just games in general. I think it's fair to weigh those heavier than what you're going to see in a training camp or a preseason game. And so I think it could be a non-competition, but still be fair, if that makes sense, just because of what Brock Purdy did. I think it's going to take a lot. I think Trey's going to have to be really, really good, and Brock's going to have to show some chinks in that armor where it's like they start to question, is he that guy? Like Brock, Trey's coming on strong, and Brock's taking a backslide. It's clear, like day in and day out, every day, Trey is better. It's going to take something like that. And I think Trey's still so young in his career. I would be shocked if day in and day out, he's clearly better than Brock Purdy at this stage in their career.
I do agree. That's why I don't know if the preseason is going to make a difference between the top 2 guys. Maybe for the second string. But I think it's more of a competition with the third stringer.
Yeah, I think so. I think the real competition really is Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen. Like, who's going to be the third string quarterback and who's going to get traded or cut?
I agree. Hearing all you guys talking about that podcast with Sean McVay and all the Shanahan guys.
The play callers,
yeah, exactly. That I'm glad you guys talked about it because I've been listening to it. It opens up a whole other side of perspective. But
absolutely.
I noticed with a lot with Sean McVay, that man does not give a damn. He'll do whatever it takes to win one. But I feel like Kyle's hesitant.
Let me ask you: have you listened to all of them, Alan?
I'm on the 5th episode right now.
Okay, so you're on the last episode. Tell me if you caught this at all, but this really stood out to me because I think as a head coach, like you've got to be a leader of men and you got to know how to really relate to people. I found it interesting that all of the coaches who spoke throughout this whole thing, and there's been a lot of them, all at least one point or another talked about the people side of the game. And Kyle Shanahan never talked about the people. He always only talked about his scheme and how things fit with his scheme. He never was like, hey, I had to sit down with this person and like really chop it up with them and tell him I believed in him and put my arm around him. You got none of that from Shanahan.
Yeah, I agree. That's the one trait that I think he lacks of. But I don't know why it seems like it's hard, especially for him, to know his criticizers and stuff that they're having about the same success as he's having. One already won a Super Bowl before he did, and not realize what is the issue with my team and with myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's one more thing. Oh, I wanted. It's been a minute since I want to talk to you about you saying Josh Allen's better than Joe Burrow.
Hell yeah.
I want to know why you think Josh Allen is better than Joe Burrow.
Well, first of all, I think there's a few ways you can look at it. I mean, traits-wise, Josh Allen is second to none. I mean, that's Patrick Mahomes included. Just trait for trait, I don't think there's anybody that's got more physical traits than Josh Allen. When you look at what he's asked to do, he's asked to do more than any other quarterback. Statistically, he accounts for more offense by a pretty wide margin than any quarterback in the league. I also would say weapon for weapon, Patrick Mahomes now, I mean, obviously we're starting to even out here, but weapon for weapon certainly doesn't have the things that Burrow has. And I think the whole turnover thing is a bit overblown because people really got on Josh Allen last year about his turnovers. But when you look at it, he threw the same amount of interceptions as Joe Burrow did. And everybody talks about how good of a decision maker Joe Burrow was. And I'm like, hold on a second. So if Josh Allen fell off and had a hurt arm, by the way, he hurt his UCL, and that's when the turnovers started to happen, but they had the same amount of turnovers essentially. That was Josh Allen's worst year over the last 3, and that was Burrow's best year. I mean, what are we really talking about? So I think Burrow's really good, and I understand why people would take Burrow. I'm not saying it's like open and shut case for everybody. For me, it's open and shut. I take Josh Allen, and it's not even a hesitation for me.
Would you say Josh Allen has a better O-line than Joe Burrow? I'm not saying as of right now. I'm saying like the previous seasons that you've seen. Or would you count it as the same?
2 years ago, I would say no. I would say last year was probably pretty much a wash.
Okay. Because I love Josh Allen. I loved him coming out of college. Like you said, I called that. I'll be rubbing it into my dad's face and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
He in that draft, he was a big
Your
fan
name
of
is
Mason
Allen.
Rudolph.
You have to like Josh Allen.
I love both Josh Allens. But no, I feel Burrow has more of an ick factor than Josh. Josh has all the traits. I get that. But I feel Burrow, even in college, because I wasn't a big fan of Burrow coming out of college. I feel like the season with Brock Purdy, where he had that great season, I feel like that was a fluke. But coming in the season, he proved me wrong. But seeing him progress the same as Josh Allen, I feel like he elevates his team a lot more than Josh Allen.
I'll say this. I encourage you to take a gander at their playoff stats. I'll just leave it at that. I know stats aren't everything, but I don't know how Josh Allen hasn't won it, but I don't know how you get better than 17 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 291 yards passing a game, 64% completion, and I haven't even talked about the rushing yet, because that's going to be around 55, 60 yards a game. There's probably a couple touchdowns from there. I mean, when the stakes are at their highest, Josh Allen coming in at a 4-to-1 TD to INT ratio. What more can you do? I mean, 2 years ago when they lost to Kansas City, in 2 games, this man completed 77% of his passes, had 9 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, threw for 320 yards a game, and people will be like, but Burrow beat Mahomes. What did you want Josh Allen to do? What more could Josh Allen have done than what he did? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I agree.
I mean, we're splitting hairs, right? But
I feel like for me, I go off of eye test then stats. Like, I see more.
I agree with you.
I see Burrow making. Yeah, the stats says otherwise, that Josh is way better in the playoffs, but usually individual stats don't mean team stats. Like maybe those playoff runs was not even on Josh, and maybe it was the defense. Because I think that one year the Bills should have went to the Super Bowl, but I feel like it was their defense not, executing what they needed to do.
For sure. Yeah, it was wild. I think, okay, here's how I do it, and I really do got to get you out of here. Well, we can continue this conversation, though. I like this conversation, but we'll just have to do it another time. Feel free to bring it up anytime, but I'll just say this, like, the way I really judge it, I agree eye test is like the number one thing, but if we just took the weapon, everything is even. and I put Josh Allen over on Cincinnati, and I put Burrow over on the Bills. I think Josh Allen with Cincinnati could have went to a Super Bowl also. I think the Bills also would not have made a Super Bowl with Burrow over Allen.
But I feel like that's where I disagree, though. Like I said, like you said, we can have a future conversation about this.
For
but
sure.
I want to have one question before I go.
Yeah.
Do you think people are protecting Justin Herbert? Not Justin Herbert. Yeah, Herbert. Yeah, Herbert. You think the media is protecting Herbert, kind of like how people is protecting Brock?
No, not at all. I mean, Herbert, the stat just came out like 2 days ago that he's put up more points than any other quarterback through this stage in his career ever. But the defense has given up also more points than any other team defense has ever given up this far into his career. So I think he's in a similar situation to Allen, where it's like he's asked to do so much, and people, he doesn't win in a playoffs or whatever, and so people write him off. But it's like, dude, that defense is god awful, and his offensive coordinator's been awful too, absolutely awful. They took a quarterback with every trait you could ask for physically and was like, hey, play like Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to probably hit you up through Twitter, because I also want to talk to you about what I see from Richardson.
Let's do it. I love it, because I'm in on Richardson too. All right. Yeah. Hit me up for sure.
All right. Nice talking to you, Justin. Have a good rest of your night.
All right, man. You too. I could do that all day, man. I could talk quarterbacks and other teams all day as well. I love it. Definitely hit me up. All right, we're gonna go to Jay Bird. He's been waiting. We're gonna go to Wheels Up. We're gonna go to John B, and then we're gonna finish it up. Jay, before I bring you on, man, I gotta say your energy is like super infectious. I feel like you're playing a game, maybe, I don't know, with your boys. You got the headset on. You've been dancing. I don't know if you're making TikTok videos. I don't know what's going on over there, but you're definitely full on entertainment for me, no doubt about it. What's up, man?
Oh my gosh, what is up, dude? I don't know. I gotta keep myself entertained while I wait.
Hey, I feel it. Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Oh yeah, because that last conversation about the quarterbacks. I mean, shoot, I almost forgot what I was gonna ask you, because that
you got sidetracked. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn, who is better?
For sure.
My biggest thing right now, because I don't know, I kind of missed the beginning of the show, but I don't know if you guys talked about it yet. But I've been kind of wanted to hear about the DBs, because I don't know how they've been performing. I mean, ever since we've built this Kyle Shanahan team, our DBs have been a kind of a struggle with throughout the team. So I want to know how they're doing this year, especially with Steve Wilkes being a defensive back oriented kind of guy. So I mean, what have you seen in terms of today in training camp as far as DBs?
Yeah, well, I want to be clear. I'm not at training camp yet. I'll be there Sunday. But from people that are there and what I heard, Ambry Thomas looks awful.
Okay, well, I guess I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, so unfortunately, he's not looking good. Lenore got his cookies taken quite a bit from Ayuk, but Ayuk is a different level right now, man. Ayuk right now is, he's really, really good. Like really, really, and he's the leader. I think he's like the heartbeat of this offense right now. I really do. Again, he needs to be a captain. So I think getting beat that way by Ayuk is okay at this point. Charvarius Ward.
I saw the contested catch with Demo and Ayuk. So obviously that's a great play by Ayuk, and obviously you let him catch the ball, but you're still contesting. And that's all I want from Demo.
For sure.
Even though I've seen him a lot be within the area to make a play, and he still hasn't been able to do it. That's like one of his big issues is the when the ball's in the air, just making a play when the ball's in the air.
For sure. Charvarius Ward killed it today. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what I was worried about, because I know everybody else kind of have a little bit of struggles, but I want to know that we still got that solid guy in Charvarius.
Yeah. Talanoa Hufanga, bald, out of control.
Yes.
I didn't hear anything about any of the nickel corners. I didn't hear anything about Gibson. Jair Brown, it seems like with the second team, the quarterbacks are avoiding him completely.
Wow.
Which is good. Really, really good.
Yes.
And he was the first one out at practice today, even ahead of Talanoa
I saw
Funga.
that. I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes, that was good. That was good to see out of the our first draft pick.
But I'm with you. Pay attention to the channel this next week because that's one of the big things I'm looking at as well. To me, the defensive back room, the depth there is a slight concern for me. Not
I feel like
not
it's
end of the
always been a
world.
concern. Ever
Right,
since we've had,
yeah. We have so many injuries. So I want to see what it looks like this year. There's a lot of change over there. So I want to see what it looks like this year. So I'm definitely going to be tapping in to the defensive backs and giving my opinion there for sure.
Because out of the defense every single year, that's always been my biggest concern, especially back in 2021. Jason Verrett got hurt. I thought we were screwed in terms of secondary,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, another thing I want to touch on is, Ty Davis Price's big surprising day, right?
Yes.
I didn't see anything. I haven't saw anything, but I've just been hearing that he's had a good day today, which is, good to hear because I don't want another Trey Sermon from him. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. It sounds like he slimmed down and looks super explosive.
Yeah, and he also had last season he had that high ankle sprain, right? So it's good to see that he's still. He seems to have made a recovery.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you see Ty Davis Price keeping up with that kind of that success that he had today?
It's only one day,
and
exactly. I know that JP Mason seems to be that deal from what everybody says. He had a little bit of a rough start today,
which is the opposite of what we expected, right?
For sure, yeah. I think him and it's like the Freaky Friday thing, right? Like they switched bodies. You had no idea. So that's what I feel like happened. I definitely believe in Mason. I got to see it or hear about it more from TDP before I'm fully bought in, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's because it's good. It's good to hear, but I don't want to get too excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think right now Jordan Mason has the number 2 spot, but it can definitely change. But was Elijah Mitchell at practice today?
I heard that he was there-ish, but didn't really participate a ton. It was like more like individual drills type of thing. Yeah.
Or like what Kittle did today.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then one last thing before I head out. How close with Brock not being on the PUP list and him kind of practicing with little restriction and having a day off or whatever? How close do you see the quarterback competition now that he's here and he's participating?
Yeah, I think it'll be great, and I think fans and media are going to have a lot of opinions, and it's going to be cool because you're going to see them side by side, day in and day out, and so you're going to be able to hear the ascension of both players or the descension potentially. You're going to hear a lot of opinions on who people think is better, but I think in the minds of the 49ers, I don't think there really is a competition unless Brock really just doesn't look good at all. And Trey Lance repeatedly is clearly outplaying him day in and day out.
And so I feel like this season Brock might have more pressure, but in terms of just in practice, I feel like Trey has more pressure because I feel like Brock can just do okay and he'll be fine with the job. But Trey has to be perfect and consistent every single day. And that's what scares me because, I'm a Trey guy, but at the end of the day, I want the team to win. So whether it's Trey or Brock, even though Brock might start and get hurt still, you know what I'm saying? So I like that it's competition, but I wish it was more open-minded in terms of the 49ers side of things, like the staff.
For sure. I think that we would all like that, but then again, we have to understand what Brock did last year, and we have to give credit and give kudos to that. Yeah, for sure. Yep. I agree with all that, man. But stay tuned here. I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of coverage this next week. So definitely tap in.
By the way, I love that 4-hour podcast with the Seahawks, man. That was amazing, dude. I listened to that through all work. You got me through the day, man. You saved me.
Hey, absolutely, bro.
I love it.
Keep calling in, man.
For it every week with all the behind the enemy line stuff. I love it. I can't wait.
I love it, man. I love it. Thank you for supporting and thank you for tapping in, man.
Of course, man. Have a good night.
You too. Dude, the energy, man. The energy of the calls has been great. A lot of first-time callers. This has been good. I've enjoyed tonight for sure. But I've got a couple people, not a first-time caller. I haven't talked to this gentleman in a while. That's the other thing that's happened tonight is we've had a couple people that I haven't heard from in months calling in. So this one is Wheels Up Podcast. He used to call in quite a bit. He's always got interesting questions. He's always got me thinking. We'll see where he's at tonight. Not a 49er fan, just a football guy, a sports guy. So we'll see. We'll see what he's got. We'll see what he's got for us.
Jesse,
What's up, man?
How you been, brother?
I've been good, man. I've been really good. How you been?
So I gotta tell the people, you gave my podcast a shout out when we were very small and we didn't have much, to really stand on. And my podcast's been thriving, and I've never forgotten that. And I will have you back on because people don't know Jesse knows all sports. This man loves MMA. He loves, the human element of stories, and that's really what we get with training camp. So I gotta ask you because we see it in MMA recently with Alsanya and Duplessis, and when you got like this idea of promotion and hyping up a fight, and when it really matters, and things are at their peak of like combustible, I gotta make this team or I gotta make this fight matter. This is my one chance to get noticed, and things get said, and I'm sure you know what I'm referring to, and you can take that whatever direction you feel comfortable with your show. But I'm going to correlate that back, if you're comfortable, with John Gruden and the Snyder situation and just football in general. Of like, so now we got these players that obviously have their personal takes. We have the coaches who obviously, they can rejoice Daniel Snyder wasn't a good guy, but he might have all this information on you. But then also at the same point, we talk about quarterback talent, or this guy's more talented than this guy, but they're also people at the end of the day. So it's like, as fans, I guess, just how do you digest it all, but also like remain fair to situations? Because I know you get it, because as you've gained more popularity on YouTube and your situation personally, Jesse, I'm sure the demands on your YouTube time, on like your opinions, that microphone gets larger in front of your face, not just in size, but in the emotional scope. You have an impact on kids. The young man was really inspired by you. You have people dancing on your show, really enjoying themselves. So like, how do you manage it? And like, what would you advise someone, trying to get their first chance, or like make a statement without having something so defiant? Because now, like you can, like I said, describe it however you want, but Alessandro, is he racist? Did he just say something out of turn? Do these guys in training camp in a few weeks really hate each other? Do they love each other? Are they, like people say, well, an injury helps you make a roster. It does. So that family, that grandma, that mother, that, daughter, she's happy that her daddy's got a job, but he can also be sad that, the backup quarterback, whatever injury might have happened, to get in there. So I don't take any more of your time. I always stay under the 2-minute mark. And you even gave me some more time. So first time, long time. I'll be back, Jay.
All right, bro. Talk to you soon. Told you, man. He always makes me think. Okay, so well, I would say this. I mean, obviously, I'm not on any sort of level to be like, hey, let me give like advice to people that are like actually famous. But for me, like just as a fan and how I view it, there was a situation in MMA where some racial stuff, happened, what have you. People made a big deal about it. I want people to tell us who they are, and I want people to be authentic in who they are. If we're taking it back to MMA, John Jones is a great example of this, where he was inauthentic to who he was for many, many years. And people liked him based off of somebody that he was not. And then once some of the things started to come out about who John Jones actually is, some people rocked with him, some people didn't. But for him, you could tell it was freeing to be who he was. And so I would just say, regardless, for me as a fan, I appreciate it when players are real. To me, watching that quarterback show, bringing it back to football, I appreciate Patrick Mahomes as a player. Know he's the best. But watching him play and watching the behind the scenes and watching how competitive he is made me an actual fan of him. Like, not just respect his game, but now I'm actively a fan of Patrick Mahomes. I was not a fan of Patrick Mahomes before I saw that. Now, some people may watch it and be like, not a fan. I heard the same thing about Kirk Cousins with the quarterback thing. A lot of people didn't like Kirk Cousins, thought he sucked and was paid too much and all these things. Then they watch him and they go, oh, I kind of like Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just all about being yourself, be authentic. Don't try to please everybody, because when you try to please everybody, you please nobody. That's one thing that I've learned in life, and certainly with any sort of platform. If you're new with a platform or you're trying to grow your platform, like, don't pander to people's thoughts and opinions. It's very easy to read your comment section, have a couple people make a suggestion or disagree with your takes, and then you're like, okay, like, I'm a little gun shy now. Can I have this take? How do I pander to everybody that watches me? Don't do that. People are going to see through it. If you're not authentic, everybody's going to know. Your takes are your takes. Your opinions are your opinions. And long term, you want people to rock with you for who you are, not for who you're pretending to be. So for me, I love it when people are authentic. And I become a fan of people based off of that authenticity. Brother Bob says, B. Allen, because he's, I don't even know what that is. Looks like a handicap sign or something, somehow worse than go. I don't. So you're saying Brandon Allen, because he's better than Sam Darnold, who doesn't see ghosts, pig in a pickle. Got it. Okay. The emoji thing kills me. All right, we're going to go with John B., who's been waiting patiently. What's up, John B.?
Hey,
You
Justin,
there?
what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
I'm doing good, man. I see you going to war in the chat.
Yeah, I go hard, and you know what it is, Jesse, before I even get to my points here is I'm a diehard Niners fan, and I love the team first and foremost. And I just, the Trey hate, I get it. He hasn't proven anything. He got hurt. But as you know, the things they say about Trey are just so outlandish. It just kind of just rubs me the wrong way, and I have to just defend him. It's how I am. But you know how it goes.
No, trust me, I definitely feel it. Here's the thing: is that, to me, there's a line, and a lot of people are willing to cross it with Trey. But if you even like question Brock Purdy, it's like, oh my God, the horror that you don't think that this is the franchise quarterback. Like, the type of hate that Brock gets, and I get it. There's some people out there that like genuinely hate Brock. I understand that. But for me, I'm in a lot of these chats, right? I support all the content creators that I can. I see the conversations. Most of the time, the hate you get towards Brock is like, yeah, I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. Or, hey, I think it might have been a little fluky what happened last year, whatever. I got to see it again. Like, that's the hate you see. The hate you get for Trey is a whole different level. It's like, he's a bum. Get him off my team. They wasted picks. This guy sucks. He broke his ankle. It's like, bro, chill out.
Yeah, it's like he's a cemented bust, and like a lot of in their minds. So that's cool. My whole thing is I want to touch on John Lynch, because this guy, he's a character. John Lynch. All right, I have a theory, and we'll see what you think. I think Grant said the same thing earlier today. I believe Trey or his team at some point requested a trade, and I say that because John Lynch, as we all know, whenever Trey is mentioned, his whole demeanor is just sour and negative. Like, it's like, John, what did Trey do? What? But when Brock mentioned, he's, oh yeah, Brock, he's just the best. He's just the greatest. What I believe is when Trey requested that trade, there was a back and forth, either his people or Trey directly with John, and there was a clash. Because it's more than football to me of how John Lynch reacts towards Trey, talks about Trey, his body language towards Trey as a whole is just so negative. You can't tell me based on a small, portion of the games he's played, the small data he's put out there, that you say, you know what, this guy's just horrible, I'm done. It's more, in my opinion, it's more to it. I think a trade was requested. It was a big back and forth. I think Kyle was the, hey, guys, just calm down, we can figure it out. I think Kyle was the voice of reason, but I think that rubbed John Lynch the wrong way, because the way he reacts towards Trey, it's so obvious. His PR team needs to talk to him and say, John, when you hear Trey's name, pretend you like him. Just try. Put on a fake smile, at least. It's just so obvious. As a GM, like, come on, be professional. That's my opinion. Debo, I'm so proud of Debo. He is in phenomenal shape. He's focused. He's locked in. I feel all our weapons are. Kittle, CMC, of course. Ayuki's a monster. All our main weapons are primed. So that's adding more pressure to the whole win now situation because everyone is primed. Trent Williams, he was last year or two max. So it is kind of like a make or break year. I just feel like that's a lot of pressure for either Brock or Trey. You got a second-year guy versus a third-year guy, both major injuries. It's a lot of pressure. Now, I will say with the NFC being so, weak, I would say, we're definitely going to make a long run, I feel, in the playoffs, regardless of who starts the quarterback. But the AFC is loaded. AFC is just a different monster. And all the top-tier quarterbacks, except Hurts, is in the AFC. So that's going to be a tough game. But,
real quick, let me stop you there because I'll give you more time. You're the last caller, so I'll give you another minute or two. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second because this is really interesting, and I've tried to think this through. If the 49ers were in the AFC East, the AFC North, or the AFC West, I don't think they would be the favorite to win any of those divisions.
I might have to agree with you on that.
But here's the plus side, right? Is they don't have to go through the gauntlet of the AFC. They just got to beat one AFC team in one game. That's it. So it's an interesting thing to look at because sometimes the best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl either. Like there have been years where you're like, that was not the best team, but things fell right, whatever. They got hot at the right time, whatever. I think it's very possible that the 49ers would not win any of those divisions or be favored to win any of those divisions, but definitely on one night in one game on a neutral field can be potentially the better team. It's not going to be easy, but luckily for them, they don't have to go through Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Lawrence, and all of them. They just got to go through one on one night. Right.
And I agree with that. Only problem is, as we know, football is about injuries and who's healthy at the right time. So if we limp into Super Bowl and we're banged up versus a juggernaut, that'll be tough. But you're right. The gauntlet is way less, harder for us being in the NFC. I just want to say in regards to the whole drama with the quarterback, tomorrow will be very interesting. And the whole thing is, I really hate all the back and forth. I was involved. I'm involved still, obviously. But at the core of me, I really wish y'all could just kind of just pause, breathe, and just stop fighting because it's been crazy and let it just play out. I feel like Brock will have growing pains. It's to be expected. He'll take time. And Trey, I feel, will continue to progress and look better. So I feel like naturally it's going to come to a decision. And I feel like Trey might have a chance. I feel like Brock may have it pretty much locked up. I still feel with Trey's momentum, if he can keep progressing forward, keep looking great, sharp, camp, preseason, and if Brock just stays okay, and Kyle's still on that pressure from the players like Ayuk and Debo and whoever else, like, hey, Trey's really looking sharp. You never know. Kyle is a cocky guy. He's an arrogant guy. He makes you know, fuck it, I'm going with Trey. You never know. You never know. John Lynch definitely wants Brock. That's not even a discussion. It's not negotiable.
Door slammed shut forever.
That is a foregone conclusion. That's cool. And I feel there's a slight rift right there with John and Kyle because I feel like Kyle is open-minded. You know how Kyle is. He's fantasizing. With Trey. Imagine if Trey can be what I think he can be. We've seen the facility. We've seen Trey making improvements in the hard work. He has it. He needs the rep. Brock has done it. Can't take it away from him, but we know that Trey with more reps will only get better. I know Kyle is like, just imagine what I can do with this guy in this offense with these weapons healthy. So it's gonna be interesting. But again, I want all of us just to kind of just relax. All the bickering needs to stop. Let's just join together. We're getting.
It ain't gonna stop. Come on, John. You know it's not gonna stop.
I know. I'm just.
You know it's not gonna stop. You know. Tomorrow you're gonna be in a chat. 187 is gonna pop off, and then you guys are gonna be at each other's necks.
Well, he has me blocked though.
Oh, okay. He has you blocked. Okay, all right. Either way, if not him, it'll be Flav or somebody like that.
It'll be Flav, third string, or
or whoever. You know what's interesting about this is I've talked to a few of these guys through the call-in show, guys that are like notorious, like Brock haters, allegedly, whatever. I mean, not Brock haters, but Trey haters.
Right.
And every single time I'm like, damn, like I like actually like talking to this person. And that's why I love the call-in show. And if we were all able to get on a line and actually like look at each other in the eye and have conversation, it would go so different than through, limited characters. But I know how it is. I mean, because I've been there too. Listen, I've participated. If you come at me, like I am not like, I'm sorry, as a man, like I'm not anybody's. I'm trying not to cuss, but I'm not a bitch. Like you're not gonna punk me, and you know what I mean. Come at my manhood and not expect a response. So like I get it from that standpoint. And so especially in text, like it gets super frustrating. But like most people here, like they're good people. You know what I mean? They just have a major difference of opinion, and then everybody's got to one up each other, and then everybody's like saying the most hateful shit ever. And it's like it doesn't have to be that way, but it's always gonna get there.
Yeah. Before I leave, I want to just say that fun fact about me: I actually live close to Philadelphia, so we have to beat the Eagles. I live in South Jersey suburbs, so I'm like 20 minutes from Philadelphia. And what's crazier is my girlfriend is an Eagles fan. I know. It's just.
That's got to be an interesting conversation after the NFC Championship.
Listen, I'll just say she's lucky I love her. I'm telling you. And we have a beautiful daughter, Gianna, after Kobe's daughter. Kobe was my idol, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, but yeah, so it gets crazy over here. But yeah, we have to beat the Eagles. Their fans are Jesse, man. I went through some shit over here when we lost. It was crazy.
I bet you did.
I bet you did. At least 3 or 4 fights, at least.
Oh, I'm sure. I feel it. I definitely feel it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, everyone, can we just try at least just back up a little bit, kind of calm down with all the back and forth, and actually support the team. Kyle, make the right decision, fix the O-line as well, and go Niners.
Hey, well said, John B. Good way to end it, man. Appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure. You take care.
All right, you too. I feel like for the most part, everybody wants the piece, but again, until the quarterback thing is like fully done, like it's it's always going to be a thing. No, I don't have any new tattoos. I've had this for like 12 years, 10 years, 2009. Like most of my tattoos are like old. So I've had them all for a minute. The newest one I have is right here. But that's a small one. All these other ones that you see are been here forever. So appreciate it. Anyways, all y'all stay easy in the chat. It's only just beginning. Okay. Training camp is going to get even crazier tomorrow because Brock Purdy's going to be throwing. It's going to be a ton of fun. Tomorrow night, I'm going to have Larry on and Vish. We're going to do a show. That's going to be heat. Larry's obviously at camp, so we're going to get the inside scoop there. And then Sunday, all through next week, I'll be at camp. So I'll bring the inside scoop. Appreciate y'all. Be easy. Stay blessed. We'll talk soon. Peace.